The Board of Trade observation deck on the 44th floor of the Board of Trade building opened in 1930 and for 3.5 decades was the tallest point in the city of Chicago. It replaced a number of other great observation decks around the city as the new go-to place to experience the city from above. This space would have all been open to the outside world. These slanting walls here had panels that lifted up, and so glass, so there would have been a lot of natural sunlight and truly a 360-degree view of the city. And then all around were little binoculars, put in a penny or a nickel, I suppose, to get views of the city down below. So kids and other tourists could really soak in the sights. These spaces at the tops of the city were really seen as very public spaces, spaces for contemplation, spaces for kind of exuberance that comes from being above the city. So a bit contrary to what a lot of people might think of when they think of spaces at the tops of skyscrapers today, when people might think of exclusivity or expensive tourist destinations. These spaces tended to be very open, inexpensive, or free in many cases. So we'll open these panels and get a little view of LaSalle Street looking north. You can't help but get that sense of escaping a little bit from reality, of playing hooky on life, you know, being up in a space like this. You're outside of the things that you should be doing and somehow removed from all of that. A quote that I particularly like that really gets at the essence of the experience of going to the tops of buildings and gazing at the city below comes from Saul Bellow's novel, More Die of Heartbreak. Saul Bellow writes, "Any number of disorders can be temporarily forgotten at such a height. A crime you committed long ago, a fatal error of judgment, when you are wrapped from yourself by such a view from the 102nd floor. Empty factories, stilled freight yards, stretches of river where the water was as still as a fish tank, and then the countryside, prairies liberated from the darkness of the city, and skies suggesting freedom and eliciting ideas of flight or escape." The observation deck at the top of the Board of Trade closed down in the early 70s. Articles in the paper quote the building manager talking about how they couldn't compete anymore with the newer, taller buildings. And the plan was to turn the space into a display room and conference rooms for the tenants in the building, but that never ended up happening. And so now, almost 45 years later, the space is still in a fairly raw condition, hopefully waiting some new incarnation.